All right. I am now presenting a paper on behalf of my colleagues and myself, Mr. Biswalo, Ms. Maduna, Ms. Nobo, and Mrs. Dlamini Zwane. Most of these are colleagues from the university where I work, the University of Eswatini, and the last colleague, she is from the Southern African Nazarene University. So how did we go about thinking about this paper? At the beginning of our lockdown, at the beginning of the pandemic and the subsequent lockdown, we thought, okay, we need to do something to immediately find out how stakeholders in the education sectors are reacting. What is happening? How are they dealing with things? Is learning, is teaching, is learning still ongoing? What is happening? And I am setting the paper in the context where we live, which is Southern Africa, the small kingdom of Eswatini. You can see it there. It's a tiny little dot on the big continent. So a small country, but with quite a variety of educational stakeholders. The research design for this paper is actually, we combined little case studies because we thought that would give the best and most detailed impression of what we really wanted to look at. Okay. So on the 13th of March, the first COVID-19 case was registered in Eswatini. On the 24th of March, the state of emergency was declared. And on the 29th of March, we went into partial lockdown, which continued until well into July. We're still very careful of what we're doing. So there's still a lot of social distancing ongoing and all kinds of security measures and sanitary measures to make sure that we don't up our infection rate. Okay, we wanted, and we know that all the levels of education, early childhood, primary, secondary, high school, tertiary education, all the levels, both formal and informal, felt and still feel the impact. But the common response from the different case study was that immediately things were closed and people replaced face-to-face learning by online learning. And this, of course, came with its issues. So there are case studies. They're not representative of a general widespread reaction, but each in their own way, these case studies give us the possibility to learn something. So the initial feeling of panic and urgency, and then luckily a more rational approach that we are still putting together. Now, when we looked at the literature, we noted that for both Eswatini and Lesotho, which is another small kingdom in Southern Africa, very similar in context, there was hardly anything. So we thought that what we were doing would, contribute to the sparse literature that was in existence. When we look at Africa further, the research on the impact of COVID-19 on preschools focuses mostly on feeding schemes. And it's also nutrition and health-related provisions in primary schools that are the most researched on publications in the African continent. At secondary and high school level, the research starts focusing more on STEM education, on access to education in general, and also on ICT infrastructure and provision. And it's actually the higher education sector globally and on the African continent that has received most research. So we noted this gap in literature about Eswatini's response on the consequences of the pandemic on teaching and learning. So a case study, as I've indicated, why? Because we can look at particular themes a little bit more in detail. And you will see in the different case studies, there are slightly different focus or focus points that were analyzed. But the main objective of the paper was to give a first exploration of reaction of the stakeholders and what measures were put in place. So the initial institutional response to the onset of the pandemic and the subsequent sanitary measures, That was research question 1. And the second one, how were these educational stakeholders trying to make sure that teaching and learning continued once we were in lockdown? All right, I'm going to start with the first one, which is a foundation phase case study where it's a private preschool in Mdiniso, and one of the teachers had contact with patient 1. So the director of that little school decided to immediately close the school's doors and to make sure that nobody else could get infected. So the instructional team of that preschool had its strategies based on 3 factors. First of all, most parents were still working during normal hours, but somebody at home should understand how to work with a small child. And seeing the situation of most parents, that was highly unlikely. So the second factor, or the second assumption, was that the activities had to be structured around a group learning environment. But in household where potentially there was only 1 preschool child, at most 2 or 3, that would be very difficult. So activities had to be planned that would engage the young learners, but also the parents. And so the school put together easy to use take-home packages and communicated with the parents via the WhatsApp group. That worked very well until the partial lockdown happened and all non-essential movement was, stopped. And so they had to go online, and they used a program called Seesaw. Now, the main question from the director is, will this school be able to survive in the long term? Also, remote teaching with very young children is not easy. And even parents need to be convinced that online learning can be a viable solution for their children. So those were the issues with case study 1. Then we went to a primary school, and there we found that, again, measures were put in place. A WhatsApp group was set up, and work and assignments were sent to the parents' WhatsApp group. Audio clips, scanned exercise worksheets, pictures of text materials, no video clips because there were, of course, issues with connectivity.
Good afternoon, everyone. Seemingly, I have a problem with, I don't know what's happening, because if I click the share the screen, it becomes inactive.
Joy, can I perhaps suggest that if you want to present while looking at your PowerPoint slides with your video on, and you can share your PowerPoint with the participants, we're going to be creating a shared folder post the conference.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. My topic is the students' experiences of an emergency online learning during the pandemic lockdown. It was a little bit more modified after the reviewers advised that I must revise the topic. Due to rapid spread of the COVID-19, institutions of higher learning opted to offer emergency online courses. Although access to digital technology is beneficial for students, challenges and problems will always accompany any transformation. Emergency online has deepened the inequalities for those students without access to connectivity. The objective of the study is to discover students' experiences with online learning, since doing so can foster student approval in online setting, effective online practices, and students' views on online learning. Authors have indicated that online learning has turned out to be a significant approach in higher institutions due to its effectiveness in providing low-cost learning. While I was reviewing the literature, the studies indicated that learners from poor economic background tend to struggle academically when competing with better, well-resourced students. And another thing, while remote teaching may be new, the field of distance and online learning was already in use. However, due to the implementation of emergency remote learning, it has become apparent that it was inadequate and required more technological resources. The authors stated that since the country started moving towards being a technology-dependent society, the field of higher education has started to shift from traditional classroom-based education to visual learning setting. The authors also argued that information regarding student experiences can benefit institutions to decide what challenges students are facing regarding online learning. And several studies highlighted that online learning has facilitated new ways for learners to take part in their learning and to reflect on it as well. Some authors have mentioned hindrances in online curriculum, such as absence of active engagement between student and teacher, between student and student, and internet complications. Theoretical framework that underpin this study is social-constructivist that perceives individual outlook, experience, and beliefs, as well as interactions with other people, tools, and language as being the integral to learning. As such, existing learning principles and methodologies are progressively becoming reflections of students' social environment. Therefore, the application of this theory is evident in the study when the lecturer arranges discussion forums for groups and awarding those who are participating in the forum and encouraging the use of WhatsApp, emails, and instant messaging. The methodology pilot was conducted prior to the actual data collection period of this study. This study is a work in progress. A qualitative approach was used to examine students' experiences. The target population for the study is level 2 undergraduate students from the Department of Development Studies. A sample size of 15 students were purposefully selected to generate data. Semi-structured interviews were utilized using telephone, emails, since the study was conducted during the pandemic lockdown, and thematic analysis was used to interpret the data collected. when presenting the findings. Since I used the thematic analysis, there were themes that emerged from the findings regarding the challenges of online learning, and there were sub-themes such as interaction between lecturer and student, curriculum delivery, maintenance cost, and social inequalities. The students indicated that there's a lack of accessing clarity on assignment. Therefore, they ended up losing focus and direction from interacting with lecturers. And they also mentioned the absence of other learners, all those as concerns for online learning. They even mentioned that they find online learning to be difficult and challenging since they are given short notices of writing tests. Sometimes they miss those notifications due to unavailability of data. And they even mentioned that a student cannot afford to purchase constant data. And the issue of poor network coverage also was mentioned by the participants. They indicate.
Or can I just come in and just tell you you've got about 3 minutes left?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
The other theme was the opportunities of online learning, where they mentioned that they see online learning as empowerment tool. Then regarding the overall experience, they mentioned that they are psychological drained because they were not sure whether they will finish year 2020. Then jumping to conclusion, the result.
So good evening, and again my greetings to all of you. I'm Antriksh Johri, working as a director in Central Board of Secondary Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India. And I'm really very delighted to attend this conference, and I really heard a lot of you during the conference, and it was really an enriching experience for me, because you know, India is a country of very I mean, full of diversities and full of you know, heterogeneity as far as the systems are concerned. So it was really a good learning experience for me as well, and for my organization. Now let's start my presentation, and before I go for this, I'll first I'm sure that my presentation is visible. Yeah. So now I would like to tell something about my organization. It is Central Board of Secondary Education, which is the only national board in the country under Ministry of Education, Government of India. And it was established in 1929 with 29 schools and 329 students. Today we have approx 24,000 schools and 30 million students across India and 25 other countries. I mean, this number why I'm giving, because this number is much more than the population of any other country like that. So such a huge task which my organization has. And every year we are conducting examination of approximately 15 million examinees, including grade 10, grade 12, and the competitive examination. The mandate given to CBSE is like we are conducting examination at the 10th and 12th grade, which is called secondary and senior secondary school. And then other than that, we are also mandated to conduct certain recruitment examinations and other competitive examinations which are being assigned by the Government of India, central government. And also we are mandated to develop and manage quality and standards of the school education in the country, being the central board. And also we are granting affiliation to the schools and other education institutions in India and outside India. And then also we are undertaking continuous professional development program for the teachers and the principals and all. And I'm happy to tell you that we are totally technology-driven, e-governed and m-governed organization, digitally empowered. Now, when this pandemic happened, you see, it was a challenge for everyone, of course, but I think human beings know how to convert the challenge to opportunity. And it became a big opportunity for us because we could look at some alternate methods of teaching learning, alternate methods of the examination and assessment. So a lot of initiatives were taken in this country because we are having, as I told you, very, very diversified students clientele here, diversified schools here, stakeholders, because some are very, very affluent, some are very highly, they can afford any kind of digital device and all. And there are certain children who are really not in a position to even look for a digital device, what to think about their owning it. But somehow we could come out with this situation, and we created a lot of e-learning infrastructure, e-content for all kind of the children across the country. We also introduced teaching through TV channels, MOOCs for open schools and pre-service education introduced, teaching through radio, and then e-textbooks and repository of open education resources. We developed a platform where the entire educational resources was hosted for the access by the students across the country. Now I'm coming to the main theme of my presentation about the examination. These are the various stages of examination. First is planning and preparation, pre-exam, conduct, post-exam, result compilation and declaration, and post-result declaration. The entire system of examination in CBSEs is end-to-end digitized, and it's quite paperless. But talking about all these, it will not be possible during this small time of 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll just talk about a few tools and technologies which we developed and we implemented in our organization successfully. Now, first one is a computer-based test. I'm really thankful to Teresa, who gave very good insight along with a beautiful story. And I think she eased out my burden. I'll not be detailing out the CBT and all that, but I'll just tell how the CBT is now, how we implemented and how we took all precautions for any kind of sabotage in the system. We also took all measures to do the examination in a highly secured manner. In the present situation, all of you know that this is the need of time, and CBT should be implemented everywhere. CBT in India, I implemented first in 1987 when I was head of department in a defense institute. I first conducted CBT. That time even hard drives were not there. Developed some system on the floppies and all. Then in my organization, we started in year 2000. And since then, we are using CBT for various examinations, competitive examination particularly. It is, as we all know, it can be proctored and as well as smart proctored. Teresa also told about this. Using AI, we are also making use of this. It's a highly robust and secure system with the 256-bit encryption we are using. Because I'm going a little more on the technical part, though she explained nicely about the CBT, but I'm just trying to tell you something about the technology part, just to give a feel that how the system is robust and secure. And then the entire question paper transfer is encrypted, password transmission through encrypted channel. And also I tell you, to prevent any kind of the pilferage in the system, we developed a system where we specially designed an OS for the purpose. And this OS is being launched prior to the examination is being launched. So it is a specified OS for this purpose, and it prevents any kind of the remote access and penetration. This is enhanced candidate experience through real time, all time. Students can see the progress of their test, what they have done, how much they have done, how many questions are left. They can also toggle between the various sections of the question. Can also switch over to the various medium of the examination, because in India we are having 32 languages which are being taught, and then children are studying in different courses in different languages. So that facility is also there in that CBT. Then result processing, of course, totally 100% error free, and we are also doing biometric capturing, and then we also developed a variant of this. It is online in PDF mode. In online, because CBT is where NAT is not required all time, so it's a small amount of internet connection can be of use for the conducting of CBT, but online variant and the PDF variant is also available for this. How it is being done, this process, I'll just take a few seconds. How the students are registering, how they are downloading admit card, how the test centers note sanitization is being done through with the central control. Then question paper uploading is being done, question paper tagging is being done, and then after this, question paper and candidate information is being downloaded through main data center as well as DR data center, and then assessment is being done, status being updated, and we are also monitoring through central command center. Then answer paper is being uploaded. Result is being processed and result is being downloaded. So this is the entire system. I tried to give some look and feel of this, how it is being done. Now, coming to next, several security protocols which we have adopted at examination server level. We are doing, as I said, standard operating environment for this. Whitelisting we are doing, date and time hardening. We have gone up to the extent where we are doing the date and time hardening of the OS, so no one can sneak into the system. And then custom operating system at the candidate level, operating system launch software, port blocking is being done, dynamic internet checking. All this thing is being done centralized. Detection of any virtualized environment, detection of any additional hardware. And then in the drive commencement, so many security protocols are there where we are having system access password, drive credentials, question paper access password, drive commencement password. Then data security, it is 256-bit encryption for the question paper, 128-bit encryption for the results. Cryptographic hash functions are being generated. RS algorithm is being used for the result processing. Unique login credentials, and like this, including face verification also we are doing to avoid any kind of the impersonation. And then content security.
Sorry to jump in, but you are fast running out of time. I think if you can just try and conclude, we would appreciate that.
Okay, fine. Then also we implemented online encrypted question paper delivery system for the subjected the non-CBT based examination. This also we did, where just-in-time creation, just-in-time encryption, dissemination in planned manner, decryption, printing of question paper to prevent any possible chance of leakage. It is watermarking also being done to avoid any kind of leakage. This is a system which we adopted the flow, how it is being done: generation, storage, transmission, decryption, printing. Then DG scoring, we also developed a system called DG scoring for OMR based examination, because there are certain examinations which are being conducted on optical mark reader papers. So for that, what we did, we just scanned those answer sheets at the examination center itself immediately after the conduct exam, uploaded on the cloud, and then we extracted data from the scanned images of the OMR sheets, which avoided any kind of the tampering of the OMR sheet. So to overcome any kind of the vulnerability, we developed this system and implemented successfully. Then on-screen marking, Terence also talked about this. In 2006, we implemented this on-screen marking for any kind of the subjective answer script. These are being scanned and being thrown to the different examiners, and examiners are being doing assessment. And then also, if required, we are also sending the same answer sheet to the different examiners, because it is all a scanned image. We have to simply just based on certain rules and the protocols, we have to send the answer sheet. It's being done. And we are also making use of AI/ML for subjective type assessment to be converted into objective type assessment based on certain, you can say the value points. The marking is being done without the availability of the examiner as well.
Doctor, thank you very much. I'm going to ask you to stop. Why? Because of two reasons. We are happy to have Joy back with us. That's one. And two, we have already a number of questions for your paper. I think it would be nice of you if you could try and answer a few of them. I don't know if you're able to look at the questions, but I will read them for you as well.